In this video, we will learn the control word format of our 8255 PPI, that is 8255 microprocessor. So here there are total 8 bits are there in our control word format, that is from bit D0 to D7. In the previous video, we have learned the different modes of 8255 PPI. We have learned that there are two groups will be available, that is group A and group B in our 8255 architecture. The port A will be included in our group A and the port C upper part will be added in our group A architecture. In our group B, the port B will be there and the lower part of port C will be added in our group B architecture. So each and every port is having their own location in our control word format. In case of group A, there are three modes of operation like 0, 1 and 2. And in our port B, there are two modes are available, that is mode 0 and mode 1. So there are different modes of operation and that are included in our control word format. So in this diagram, you can see there are total 8 bits will be available and the D7 bit will be indicates that there are two modes of operation, that is input output mode and bit set reset mode. If our control word format is operated in input output mode, then we are writing here 1. And if it is operated in BSR mode, then we are writing 0. Now check the 6th bit of our 6th and 5th bit of our control word format, that is this D6 and D5. This bit will use for the mode selection of our group A. So there are three modes will be available like 0, then 1 and 2. So this 0 will be indicated as 0 and 0. Then 1 is indicated as 0 and 1. And this 2 will be 1 and 0. So all these bits will be there in our 0, 1, 2 modes of operation. If the port A and the port C of their architecture, that is our group A architecture, will select the mode 0 operation, then our D5 and D6, these two bits will be 0 and 0. If they are selecting our mode 1 operation, then these two bits will be 0 and 1. And if the mode is mode number 2, then we are selecting here the lines, that is D6 and D5 is equal to 1 and 0. So after D5 bit, there is a D4 bit that is used for port A selection. Whenever we are selecting the port A architecture in input mode, that time we are always using here 1, and whenever we are selecting this port in output mode, that time we have to write here 0. So for each and every port architecture, the input and output condition will be same. That is, for input we are setting here 1 and for output we are setting 0. So check here in port C upper part, then port B structure and port C lower part, we are writing 1 for input and 0 for output. So this D4 bit will be used for setting our port A structure. Now here we have completed with our port A structure. Now the third bit will be, that is the D3 bit, that will be used for port C upper part. And we have included our port C upper part, that is port 4 to port 7. So this 4 bit will be added in our group A architecture and this will be indicated in our D3 bit. So now we have completed with our group A part, and here this is the part that are included in our group A architecture. Now the remaining part will be given, that is used for group B architecture. So this is for group A and the remaining part will be used for group B. The D2 bit will be used for the mode selection, and if it is a 0, then we are indicating that there is a mode 0 operation. And if it is a 1, then we are setting it as the mode 1 operation. Now the next bit is that is D1 bit. In that D1 bit, we are writing here the port B number, that is 1 for input and the 0 for output. And the last bit, that is D0 bit, is used for port C lower architecture. That is the port number 0 to 3 will be considered here in port C lower part of your architecture. So this is called as a control word format of our 8255 processor. So now you can check that if your processor is working in our input output mode, then we are setting here 1. If it is working in BSR mode, then we are writing here 0. Now these 2 bits will be used for our mode selection of our group A architecture. Consider that we are selecting here this mode 1 of operation, then we are writing here 0 and 1. Now this bit will be used for our port A structure, and if it is working in input mode, then we are writing here 1. If it is working in output mode, then we are writing here 0. Now the D3 bit will be used for port C upper part, and consider that our port C will be working in output mode, then we are writing here 0. Now the next bit is that is D2 bit, and D2 bit is used for selection of mode selection of our group B architecture. And if suppose we are selecting our mode 0 operation, then we are writing here 0. Now the D1 bit will be considered for input and output port for our port B structure. Suppose I have to select here input port, then I am writing here 1. And in the last part, that is the D0 bit, if you have to select the input port of our port C lower architecture, then again we are writing here 1. So this is the control word format of our 8255 PPI. Now in the next video, we will learn this BSR mode and this input output mode in detailed manner.